Now, the other thing that as one of your focuses is post-menopausal women.
Women.
Yes. And so you have an interesting quote on your Instagram page is you don't want other women to be surprised like you were.
Oh, yeah. So I think any woman in her late 40s, early 50s, so when you're going through perimenopause. So I think we never even think about we're going through it because our moms never talk about it. And I don't think, I mean, anybody I've talked to, I think it's very common because in previous generations, women don't talk about that stuff. And I think they don't talk about it in public because it's not because they don't want to talk about it. They've been taught not to talk about it because it's supposed to be private stuff. But,
Yeah.
you know, we all go through physical changes in our 40s, men and women differently. But for women, it has to do with the shift in hormones that goes from, I guess, for lack of better, reproductive to non-reproductive years. But everyone thinks of it as, oh, it just means you can't have babies. But the beauty of our human body is that we use hormones not just for reproduction. The same two hormones affect everything. So those two hormones affect your bone density, it affects your hair. That's why women get thinning hair as they get older. It affects your skin elasticity. It affects your joints. So I think women start to experience stuff in their late 40s and you don't really realize it has to do with changing hormones. And because my mom never talked about what happened with her, stuff was happening to me, like I stopped being able to sleep, which is actually a pretty common thing for at this age, getting insomnia. But when I went to the doctor, my regular doctor, they didn't think about it because I think the education on it is just because they went to med school. And from what I know from having gone through this, med school doesn't cover the topic of menopause very deeply, maybe about an hour. So when I went to even my gynecologist, seriously, that people have to get outside education on
Oh,
it.
great.
My gynecologist is like, oh, you're just gonna have to deal with it. This is horrible. So then I remember asking my mom around that time because I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm trying to think what other things that was happening. Yeah, I didn't know that was perimenopause until the insomnia was so bad, and I was trying to explore, figure out what was going on. And I asked my mom. I was like, "Did you go through menopause?" She's like, "Yeah." She pulled out a calendar. She's like, "I was 50." I'm like, "Okay, that's how old I am now." And how come she never told me about this stuff? So I try to talk about a lot of these things on my social because even now, like here, it's being talked about more online. There's movie stars or Hollywood stars who are very public about it, like Oprah or even Michelle Obama has been talking about how she went on hormone therapy. But prior to that, nobody really was. But even with these famous people talking about more, I think women are still in the dark. I can think about when I post about someone will contact me like, oh, I've been starting to feel like XYZ. I didn't realize that's what it is. So, yes, that's why I talk about it so that other people can feel informed and
Mhm.
also know that you want to have a doctor who's actually sounds weird menopause certified, but there is a governing body, the North American Menopause Society, who provides a rigorous education to doctors and to pass the test for them. I know because I've talked to doctors who are menopause certified. They're like, oh no, the test is not easy. You have to actually study for it. So and there are tons of doctors that are on their directory that have passed. That's the kind of doctor you want because they're going to be able to help you through this time.